Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we finally have the map for the Immortal Empires. This was provided to me early by Creative Assembly. We've also got a blog out. We'll be talking about the blog in just a little bit, but let's just bask in the glory of it. Look how absolutely massive this map is. There's loads of details and we've even got the settlement number. We'll be talking about that in just a little bit, but I just want to look at this. We can see all the different regions. There's even some new ones, if you can tell. Here in Estalia there's one new one. Obviously all of Grand Cafe. There's just so much. I'm absolutely impressed because, well, let's be honest, many of us were just thinking how could this actually be done, and here it is. It's huge. Loads of different areas have been added in, it seems, and we'll be having a few different videos coming out in the future just to go into depth about this. Like, for example, it looks like we might have a one settlement building in the southern reaches of Cathay next to the border to Khuresh. So I'm assuming that's like a wood elf area, so you can teleport there and all that. There's just so much. There's honestly just so much. But there's a few details that we need to talk about from this blog, so let's talk about the blog. So we're going to skip the intros. It's just them explaining that they've been working on this for a while and all that, you know, just as expected. And we're going to jump into the meat and potatoes. The Immortal Empires map is massive. The biggest map in any Total War game has featured to date. Okay, so they might have something in the future, you never know. And nearly twice as large as the Immortal Empires map, first introduced in 2017 to Total War Warhammer 2. Wow, really? It's been that long? Hard to believe that Warhammer 2 has been out this long, but yeah, let's carry on. For perspective, the number of settlements has not only increased from 401 to 555, but the number of starting factions has also increased from 347 to 540. So we can see all these details here. There's a little chart with Legendary Lords going from 74 all the way up to 86. That's absolutely impressive. But let's continue. We've long said that the release of Total War Warhammer 3 is only the beginning of the journey. To that end, you can expect the number of playable Legendary Lords and Racers. Some speculation near the end because there's something in the blog that kind of gives me a little bit of hope, but let's continue. You can expect the number of playable Legendary Lords and Racers to continue growing as we release new DLC and free content to the game. This means that there will always be fresh new ways to approach Immortal Empires in the months and years to come as new forces join the battlefield. Thank you, CA. This is something that gives me hope, you know? They're really hammering in on, we're getting loads of new stuff, and this is awesome. This is so far so good. Let's carry on. While we won't dive into the intricacies of start positions quite yet, look for those soon, you can also expect a variety of nifty changes which make the experience fresher, more challenging, and even more reverent to the Warhammer lore. You may just find a certain Kraken Lord pillaging Grand Cafe, or a stealthy skink taking the fight right to Chaos's front door. Okay, this sounds really interesting. So, Lokia might be moving to Cafe? Or perhaps have some sort of mechanic to make him fight Cafe? That sounds really fun. And obviously Oxyodal, being the stealthy skink, fighting Chaos directly. This is always really good. His Mortal Empire start position is already quite close to a lot of Chaos factions, so I wonder where they're going to move him. Maybe closer into the Northern Wastes? That would be kind of cool. I don't know, this sounds really interesting. I can't wait to see what happens here, because them just saying that makes me really excited to whatever could be possible. Because they have stated in a previous blog post that they are going to change up some other lords and so on. So yeah, moving characters around and... oh yeah, that's going to be great. It's going to allow for a lot more replayability. Next, we have some details regarding the sea lanes, but we've already got an image here, so let's talk about that before we get into the actual written word stuff. So there are 4 different lanes, which isn't too bad. So purple leads to purple, red leads to red, green to green, and orange to orange. That's not bad. It covers a decent amount of the map. For those who might be wondering about the purple lane, there's some like hidden ocean caverns and stuff under Nagaroth. So yeah, that kind of makes sense, don't you worry. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's really interesting. It makes sense for the positioning. I don't know if another one would have been great, but I guess this is going to kind of work like teleporting. I don't know, we haven't seen all the details just yet, but I think it's alright. Yeah, we go from Lustria all the way to Cafe. We go from, well, 2 points of Lustria all the way to Cafe. And we go from one point of where the border of Khuresh is to, well, yeah, close to Ind, close to the Southern Chaos Wastes. That's not too bad overall. I would have liked if the other orange point would have been closer to the Southern Chaos Waste, maybe closer to the Southlands too. But then again, they might have been testing this and they probably thought that this was the best, because it does lead us to those Elven Islands that we had in the Eye of the Vortex. So those are probably going to be areas that we're going to be able to take over. Though those islands seem not to have any roads unless I'm completely blind, so I don't know, we're going to have to wait and see. Either way, it's kind of cool, and I think that we're going to be able to get a lot from this. It's going to be quite interesting, say, for example, if you play as the Clan Pestilence or anything in Lustria and decide if you want to invade Grand Cafe. This would be pretty good for, say, for example, Lufa Harken, just in case you want to just, say, take the ship and go. Or Mazdamundi looks like he's going to be able to go directly, which should be quite interesting. You'll also be able to just kind of skip Morathi and invade Malekith directly if you want to, too. There's a lot of things that you could do here. And we have a few words from Creative Assembly which are as follows. With the scale of the Immortal Empires map in mind, sea lanes have been introduced to add flexibility to your globe-trotting adventures. Interacting with them will provide the option to travel from the east of the map to the west and vice versa, allowing for more exotic confrontations to be had, new allegiances to be formed, and unique role-playing opportunities when once distant factions meet for the first time. Any lord or hero will be able to move into the sea lane markers, allowing them to set sail and reach their destinations after being at sea for a few turns. Okay, so it's like a teleport thing. It's just for a few turns. That works out quite well. I wasn't expecting heroes being able to do that too. I was expecting just armies, but this could be quite cool. Yeah, you just send a hero over to establish some diplomacy. Well, could be nice for, say, High Elves, because you've got access to influence. If influence stays the same, that would be kind of cool. Or maybe some Skaven Undercities. This is all really, really interesting. I can't wait to actually try this out myself. Now, this next section is really, really exciting. Borders of the Known World. Though included within the map, not all landmasses and oceans will be traversable at the launch of Immortal Empires, such as Khuresh and Ind. Keep in mind that I think this is the first time that they've acknowledged this outside of the game little tidbits and so on, so this is very good, and it says not at the start, so you never know. Our focus for the Total War Warhammer trilogy has always been on the races of 8th edition, with some exceptions such as Grand Cafe, Norska and Kislev, and the areas where these races reside remain our immediate design priority. But we know that possibly in the future, Khuresh and Ind will be areas that we'll be able to play, so this means Khuresh and Ind DLC? Though, mind you, it should be the hinterlands of Khuresh and the kingdoms of Ind, unless stuff is being changed by Games Workshop, which, yeah, then Ind and Khuresh is fine. However, this to me is really exciting because them actually mentioning it is a very, very important thing, and hopefully those areas will end up playable in the foreseeable future. They do say that it's not at the beginning, so it doesn't say that it's not going to be near the end or in the future at the very least. And there's a lot of territories that could be added. If we look at how the areas are kind of done with the regions and all that, there's a lot that could fit here. So we just have to get a little bit louder, I think. I think that's the best way to do to be able to actually get what we want, because I really want the Kingdoms of Ind and I really want Khuresh. I really want them to add in more. Hopefully map expansions are possible for Nippon in the future, as we're all very much aware that map expansions are very much possible when it comes to, well, what we've seen with Mortal Empires. So just a little bit more to the right. That's all I need, CA. Just a little bit more, and then we've pretty much got the whole world. Well, obviously the Lost Isles, but I don't think they can do much, unless I'm Australians. But this is really, really interesting. Either way, I am hyped, man. This is... Hopefully we get everything that we want. Hopefully we get the full world with everything, with all the areas, with loads of different races. They have already said more races in the future, and let's be honest, the last remaining races are the Dogs of War, which had a 5th edition army book, and there's going to be a video going into this because there is a point here to talk about the specifics about why I think a Dogs of War DLC is happening, and obviously the Chaos Dwarves, but that's not enough. At least to me, that's not enough. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit greedy, so let's continue. It's also worth remembering that the Immortal Empires campaign map isn't a simple stitch and fit job. The Old World, Eye of the Vortex, and Realms of Chaos campaign maps are designed to be unique, standalone experiences. Simply put, they're different shapes and sizes that don't fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. This is a sandbox mode first and foremost, so mechanics such as the Eye of the Vortex and Realms of Chaos Invasion also won't be present here. That's a good thing. I don't like the Realms of Chaos one too much. The other Vortex was fine, but nah, this should be Sandbox, this should be Total War. I think it'd be really good if they just had like a toggle where you could decide, yes, bring in these narratives or not, but that's pretty much it. But I imagine that that would be way too tough because then they have to implement the Realms of Chaos in here, and that would probably be a bit of an issue because I've noticed a lot of frame drops are linked to the Realms of Chaos themselves, so they're probably trying to avoid that, which makes sense. Either way, I'm happy with what we're getting so far. Just like it a little bit bigger. That's literally it. But before we get into that tangent, let's move on. We've got a few more details here. That's all for today's post. But as a teaser for our next news drop, oh cool, teasers. That's good. That's always good. Now that the map of the world has been revealed, it seems like the perfect time to start pinning where each of the inhabitants will begin their journey for conquest and glory. That's right, we're talking start positions in the next blog, so stay tuned for more. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm actually quite happy about this. More teasers is a good thing, and I think overall that's going to be quite an exciting thing. I just want to look at the map again. It looks so cool. This is going to be long campaigns. Like, can you imagine starting off with Skrulk or any lord that you can think of and painting the map? Like, I think that's going to be a challenge for me. I actually really want to do this. I probably won't do this constantly because, my god, a campaign will probably take days, maybe a week or two, but this is exciting. This is really exciting. Overall, I like everything. So if you zoom into the stuff, you can see the town areas because the smaller faded out roads, I believe, are like towns. So you can see how many settlements are in a province, unless that's trade routes. I think it's settlements, not trade routes, because, yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes sense. But either way, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I don't know. This is something that we've been waiting for, and if it's something like it's going to be this big and it's got all those races, I understand why they've taken a while to kind of bring it out, but August can't get here sooner. I need it out. I want to play. I want to play. This is just really exciting, and I know I'm not the only one. But what do you guys think about this? Like, obviously, there's a lot of people who must be very excited, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a bit of a discussion. I'm rather curious because I just can't stop looking at the map. But yeah, I'll see you all again very soon. Have a good day.